Hi there guys, Brad Parrotta from Parrotta Real Estate Group and Roy LePage. We are talking about deposits today and down payments. Most of this will be about deposits since that's what we as real estate agents mostly deal with. And we'll have just a really small segment at the tail end on down payments. I'll try and make this short and sweet. I know we're all busy. So these two things are in fact different. The words kind of get mixed and muddled, I think, among the general public. So I've got some questions here. I'll read them out, sort of the most common questions that we see in the industry, and then I'll do my best to give you a decent answer. All right. So who decides the deposit? The deposit is something that's negotiated between the buyer and the seller. It's most commonly found around 5%. So that's a deposit amount that your average seller should be more than happy with. Okay, how is it paid? Deposit is paid in the form of a bank draft, typically, or a wire transfer. It can be probably the second most common, I guess you could say. When is deposit due? Deposit is due typically, again, this is also something that you negotiate in the contract, but most commonly we see it either with subject removal or within 24 hours of subject removal. So you're making that deposit when you're certain that you're buying the property and you're satisfied with everything you've come to learn about the home or the land, etc. Okay, we talked about that deposit, 24 hours. What does deposit mean in the contract? So the deposit is kind of like collateral in a way. It adds strength and credibility. It shows the seller that you're serious and you have the money. But it is collateral, right? If you put down 5%, that money gets held in trust, and it shows in good faith to the seller that when completion rolls around 2 months from now, you're serious and you'll fulfill all your duties and obligations in the contract. So this can also be really helpful in competing scenarios. You can imagine if a seller has 3 offers and they're full of different prices and dates and subjects. That's one other little piece that can be helpful. If you have a really strong deposit, it shows the seller that you're qualified and you're serious. All right, so it's pretty helpful. Sometimes we'll even go as far as attaching the bank draft if it's a subject-free offer. And again, just one step further, showing the seller that you're very serious and you're sort of ready, willing, and able to buy the property immediately. Now lastly, can I lose my deposit? Yes, you can lose your deposit. The short answer is it can be forfeit if you back out of your purchase. It is held in trust, and you need both the buyer and seller signatures to get that deposit out of trust. But if you're in breach of contract and you haven't fulfilled your obligations of said contract, there's a good chance your deposit will be forfeit. Okay, so obviously that's why we're very clear and confident when we look through the contract to make sure you understand what you're doing, what you're signing, and to make sure everything will go off smoothly, go off without a hitch. All right, so that kind of sums up, I think, the basics of deposits. Down payments, now that's like the mortgage side, the bank side, the lender side of things. Now there is a structure of what the banks want to see when you're buying a property, and it depends on the purchase price. So if you're buying a home between 0 to 500,000, which in Greater Vancouver there's not a lot of those left, but nonetheless the bank wants to see 5% if you're buying up to 500K. If you're buying between 500 and $1 million, the bank wants 10% as a down payment. If you're buying a property over $1 million, it's 20% down payment. Sometimes unique properties, the bank will actually want more, just as security. Sometimes we see that with like grow ups and things like that, where there's more risk to the lender. Okay, but that's the general guideline that you can rely on in these cases. Now that your deposit goes towards the down payment or the purchase price. So that's sometimes where things get maybe confused again. The deposit's not lost. It doesn't just go straight to the seller. It does form part of the down payment or the purchase price. All right, so I think that's about it. I hope you found this helpful. Thanks for your time.